Welcome folks, this is Wear and Tear, yet another YouTube auto and gear review channel. Today I want to review the DJI Maverick Mini. This is my first drone, and I want to share my experiences as a first time drone user, and also share a lot of my footage that I collected over the last few years. So I have put some wear and tear on my Mavic Mini, made some experiences with this drone. I had it 8.21 hours up in the air. We covered a distance of 46.2 kilometers, so a bit under 30 miles. I had 79 flights with this drone. Now during that time I had no problems with the drone. It performed flawlessly. However, I had quite a few close calls. Let's first talk about the drone. It is marketed as an entry-level drone, which is true in terms of price, but I would really view it as a more specialized drone. It is very light, 249 grams. That means that in many countries, many laws that apply to drones in general do not apply to the Mavic Mini, or only in a very limited sense, because it's more treated perhaps as a toy drone than as a professional drone. So the 249 grams with the Mavic Mini are very important in that case. Also, the drone is extremely portable. This is the type of drone that you really can put in your backpack or in a watertight container or in a small sling bag and just carry with you without much thought, because it's better to have the drone than not to have it. Carrying it around, it really doesn't take a lot of weight. It's not bulky at all. You just grab it like you grabbed your video camera back in the day before most people just started to use mobile phones. So this drone is specialized. It is a very light drone, very capable. It has a 3-axis gimbal, is fully stabilized. You can get very smooth, absolutely smooth footage. A lot of the footage looks like there are actually tracks, like train tracks in the air, and the drone is just riding on those tracks. So you have like butter smooth footage. Now you can also activate something like a FPV mode, where the gimbal is a little bit limited and you have more the experience of flying, you know, like kind of like there are G-forces and whatever, so it's more like a point of view mode. I didn't yet collect any footage with this mode on. I always used the full gimbal mode because I really want to use this drone more for video footage. And drone flying in itself is fun, but for me it's really more of getting background footage for my YouTube channel and just using it as a tool. So while the DJI Maverick Mini is the cheapest DJI drone with full video stabilization and all that jazz, it is certainly not the most beginner-friendly drone, because it lacks a lot of those auto functions like follow me function. It also lacks a lot of the sensors to avoid collisions. Basically the only collision avoidance sensors it has are on the bottom. So when it lands and it realizes the ground comes closer, then the drone will automatically brake, or you can easily let the drone land in your hand, stuff like that. But nothing will stop this drone from flying into a tree or flying into a wall or whatever. There is no kind of program running to avoid collisions. It's really all on you. You are flying the drone. It will do whatever you tell it to do. With rare exceptions, for example, when the battery level runs too low in relation to the starting point, then the drone will initiate an auto return that you can abort, but basically it will automatically come back to you. And of course also in certain other situations the drone does stuff on its own, but generally all the risk and all the job of flying is really on you. You cannot pre-plan a route, give it coordinates, and also the options for automatical flying, like where the drone follows you or something like that. This is very limited. There is no active tracking at all. So this only comes with the next higher tier of DJI drones. They're also more than twice as expensive. So let me talk a little bit about ways to destroy the drone. Well, first of all, there's an auto return feature that absolutely will not save your drone if you set it up wrongly. So if the drone triggers auto return, so like if the battery level is too low, or you push this button because, for example, you don't know where your drone is anymore and you want it to return to the starting location, well, then the drone will come back to you, but in a straight line, and it doesn't care if there is a tree or a house or anything else in between you and its current position. So what you really need to do is you need to set the proper height for it returning. So for example, if there's a tree that is 20 meters tall, you need to set it at least to 25 meters. So the drone, when the auto return is triggered, will go up to 25 meters and then come back to you in a straight line. Also, if the drone is underneath something like the canopy of a tree and this function is triggered, it will pull upwards into the canopy of the tree and it will perish. So this auto return feature is totally dumb. You need to make sure that there is a unobstructed direct line between you and your drone at the proper height, and there is no canopy or no overpass or anything that could stop the drone. So there's a lot of ways to lose your drone. Also, the auto return feature will not work when there is strong wind. It's very easy to get into strong wind. On the ground you have no wind, but if you go up and, for example, there was the cover of a tall hill or building that prevented the wind from impacting on your drone, then all of a sudden you have a strong wind and the auto return feature will no longer work. That means just you need to descend with your drone to a safer height where there is less wind. So all of that is to consider. Also with the signal, never trust the signal too much. It is really a short range drone. It really depends a lot on if there is interference like other Wi-Fi's. The drone is set up, you plug in your mobile phone or you connect your mobile phone with the remote control, and the remote control basically boosts a Wi-Fi signal to the drone. So that's why you have a live feed on your phone and so on. And all of that works beautifully. But if there's a lot of interference, for example, in the city, if you fly in the city, then you really have a very short range drone, and you shouldn't be surprised if after 200, 300, 400 meters you already get problems. It is best to always imagine a direct line of sight like a laser beam to your drone. You need to maintain this line all the time in order to maintain control of the drone and get a good video feedback. If you're in the shadow of some object, then you will lose connection to your drone. Another way to lose your drone is above water. When you have a low GPS signal, then the drone depends on its optical flow sensors, I guess that's how you could call it, on the bottom. So they just measure the movement of the drone in relation to the ground, and then they try to figure out how high the drone is and how to maintain the position. Now, over clear or homogeneous surfaces, these sensors can get confused, and then if you do not have proper GPS signal, then your drone can start to descend, and it can descend right into the water. That almost happened to me at the Trown River. I was down in a ravine, a very small, very deep valley, and there was little to no GPS signal, and the drone was above the water surface, and almost it started suddenly to descend, and I almost lost it. So if I had lost it that day, that would have sucked royally. But there is also the insurance that I bought. For like 40 or 50 bucks, you get 2 replacement drones in 1 year, or in the first year of ownership. So the risk of flying the DJI Maverick Mini is not as high as you might first think. Although I must admit, it's kind of exciting to fly a little machine, and you know, with the slightest mistake, you're 400 euros or $400, poorer. So that makes the flying experience that much more exciting. For me, it's not about the drone flying per se, although flying the Mavic Mini is a lot of fun. I like the footage. It's 2.7K footage. The stabilization makes all the difference. And the original footage that I have is much better than what you can see on YouTube. The YouTube algorithm really diminishes the quality of the DJI Maverick Mini original footage. So even with a better drone, that doesn't mean that you get that much better footage on YouTube. A little bit, but not that much. 2.7K is nothing to sneeze at. It is beautiful footage in my opinion, and all the footage that you see in this video is completely unedited. I know that people could make more out of that footage with color grading and whatever, but I can't do that. I don't have the necessary software skills for that right now. Now, I can really wholeheartedly endorse the DJI Maverick Mini. It's really a great entry into drone flying, although it's not really an entry level drone. So maybe for me it's the start of a new hobby, but definitely it is also a very effective tool in my toolbox for making video. So before I come to my conclusion, a few more words about the flight time. The longest that I ever was up in the air with my DJI Maverick Mini was 20 minutes. Most of my flights are around 10 to 15 minutes. It actually takes a lot of focus and attention to, well, navigate in three-dimensional space like that. And although it's an enjoyable experience, you try to get good shots and you do this and that. Those 15 minutes are actually quite the time to stay up in the air, and I don't mind them landing the drone briefly and exchanging the battery. I have the Fly More combo, I have 2 spare batteries, and I think that's also better for the batteries if you don't push them to the maximum. So when I fly the drone like 20 minutes, then I still have like 20 to 30% charge in the tank. So the manufacturer claims like 30 minutes flight time, and that could be possible if there is not too much wind and if you don't push sports mode too often. In sports mode, the drone becomes very powerful, fast and agile, but for the best cinematic footage, you probably should take position mode or even cinema mode. Then drone is kind of low powered, which can be a disadvantage though if you hit difficult circumstances and you need to get out of somewhere fast, because some animals, like some birds of prey, they don't like those drones very much. Also, if you have to fight against wind, you need to turn on sports mode and come back home as fast as possible. So these are some things to consider. For me, the DJI Maverick Mini is just an awesome tool that also makes a whole lot of fun, and for the price I don't really see any competitors for the price and weight that this drone offers. So this was Wear and Tear. I hope you enjoyed my little review. This was it. Over and out.